Roommates, it's Jelana coming at you with another design video, and tonight we are going to be making this 2026 graduation card and customized envelope in Cricut Design Space. Before we get started, a few things. I am a Cricut Access member, so some of the fonts and features that I use in tonight's video, you may or may not have access to, depending on whether you yourself are a Cricut Access member. Furthermore, if you have any comments or feedback or have any questions, please drop them in the description box below, where you will get a link directly to this project in Cricut Design Space, as well as any of the elements that I use during the project. All right, let's go ahead and get started. First things first, we're using specific fonts for this project. I am going to be using BFC Night Kiss for the 2026 and the Jordan, and Simple Celebration for the inside of the card, the greeting line, which I just kept simple at Congrats Grad. And then this specific money envelope, which I will help you find in the navigation bar on the left. Let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to need some text. I'm going to go over to text. Again, I'm going to choose BFC Night Kiss. It would be over in the Cricut style, and then you type, click it out, and then I want this to be 2026. The size of our card is going to end up being a 4x6 card. So let's go ahead and grab a shape, a rectangle, and then I'd like this to be the width of 4. Width of 6 and height of 4. So this is exactly what my this is exactly what my card length is going to be, a 4x6. Okay. Cool. All right, let me lock this back. So what that means is I'm going to change the color of this square into something lighter, like this red maybe, or pink. And then I grab my 2026, bring it to the front, and then I'd like to size this out, make it bigger so we can see what we're looking at. Now keep in mind, these numbers are very, very spread apart. So I want to actually decrease the letter space so that the numbers themselves will get closer together. So over in letter space, I'm going to keep going down to about -0.5. And this will make more sense because when I make my offset, the whole point of the offset is to get to a space where there's no gaps in between. So over in this example, the gray offset still leaves this little white space, but the offset after that is solid because for this card, I'm going to be designing a solid backing. Okay, we can go ahead and change this to a different color. This time I'm going to use purple. And so I need an offset, so I click this love button here, and I like my offsets to be 0.15 inches. Click apply, and this is going to be silver to represent one of the high schools in my area. So their colors are they're actually a darker purple, silver, and white. So I'm actually going to go ahead and change. Well, let me leave that for now. Okay, so we're going to need another offset. So this gray backing, we're going to need one more offset. Click that, and then 0.15 inches. And this is going to be, again, you can see that the gaps are filled in. This is going to be the base of my card, which is going to be white. Okay, so our first 2026 is done. I'm going to slide this down so that the square that I created, or rectangle I created, lines right up at the edge of my numbers. Okay. I then take my white backing, my offset, and then I'm going to duplicate that. Okay. I'm going to drag it up so that it's aligned. And then I'm actually going to flip this vertically so that it becomes a mirror of itself, a reflection of itself. Keep in mind your card will be folding. So we're looking at the card unfolded right now. And once we get done designing, it will all come together. The whole point of this, though, let me zoom in so I can point out a few things. In this design, once I can show y'all what we're doing, Okay, so in this design, I wanted to be able to create that middle section, these scalloped edges. I want this to be one full card, but you can see that there's a lot of excess pink. So the first thing I'm gonna do is move this pink square. Oops, let me undo that. I'm gonna move this pink square down so that only the little sections of peach or pink are visible. And that's because I actually want my card design to be in the shape of 2026. I'm not looking for a square card with 2026 on top of it. I want the card to be in the shape of the 2026. Okay, so from here, I'm going to drag this in a little bit. The inside of where it lines with my purple layer. And then I'm going to slice each of these things out. So I'm going to take my mouse, highlight this white and pink area. I want to slice that. And then I want this second white layer and pink area. And I'm going to slice that. You can tell what's been highlighted based on what lights up in your canvas. You can also just click on the things. I want this bottom half of the pink though, and then my white backing, and then I want to slice this out again. Okay, now it's time to get rid of the things that we do not need. We do not need anything on the 2026, so this portion, you can always check by hiding. We obviously need our white backing. We do not need that scalloped area, so I can go ahead and delete that. We also do not need this peach underneath. We can get rid of that. That seems important. Probably need to keep that. And I think we are all good here. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my silver backing and my purple text, and I want to group those together, move them out of the way. And then I want to highlight all of these elements and unite them into one even card. The 2026 then goes back on top. And now I've created a foldable, almost foldable 2026 shaped card. Lastly, I need to go back over to shapes, grab a score line, move this over here. Sorry, I can zoom back out. I want to rotate my score line 90 degrees. And because my card is going to be a 4x6, I know the length of my score line also needs to be 6 inches. I can use the pink guides that pop up or the alignment tools to align center this as well as in the middle. So center horizontal and vertical. And then lastly, I'm going to highlight my white backing and my score line only. So those are the only two things that should be highlighted. And I want to attach those things because this is going to be how my card comes out. Send this to the back so we know what's what. And then we've got one more piece. So this is our card. We could send this as is. You can use a pen or pencil and write your note on the inside. But I want to use my Cricut machine's writing tool to create the inside of this card. So I'm going to slide this 2026 up. Keep in mind, this is going to be essentially, if you were to open this card, your 2026 would end up upside down up here, which is, again, how you know that this is going to work out because it fits. So on this portion of our card, I'm going to undo that for a second. On this portion of our card, I need the insert portion where you actually put the note. So I'm going to expand this group, grab that gray layer, and duplicate it. Okay. This is where the insert of my card is going to go. However, it's going to be difficult for me to write a message when the space is not solid. So you go over to your contour tool, hide all contours, apply, and now you've got, again, a shape of 2026 or a silhouette of 2026 that you can now go to text and write your personalized message. So I'm going to bring this over here. The writing font that we're going to use, again, you can use your filter to choose a specific writing font. The one we're going to be using is called Simple Celebrations. And you can write whatever note you would like to write here. Congratulations, Brayden. I'm so proud of you. Love always. Got JJ. All right. And then I'm just going to resize this to make it fit onto my note. Zoom in so we can see a little. You can also change the fonts directly here, maybe to like 25. Make it as long or as short. Again, you can highlight your gray and your numbers. Your gray and your numbers. Your gray and your text, and you can center them. And then because you want this to write, you would then need to, I'm going to pull this out actually, and then attach these two things together if I'm using my writing tool. Is this writing? No, it's not even writing. Let's go change it to pen. There we go. Now it's writing because it says draw here, which means draw with the pen. So I highlight the offset, the drawing, and attach those together. And that is my card done. This should fit right on top. I'm going to bring it to the front. And this should fit right on top. There you go. Okay, card is done. Now we go and grab our envelope. So again, I'm going to click on images. You can type envelope in the top search bar. And the envelope we're looking for is this money holder, which is, I don't remember. Oh, good thing it saves it for me. Money holder, this one, I can pull it up so we can see it. Money envelope, money envelope. I'm going to add it to the canvas. And we can personalize. Okay, so here's our envelope. Now, obviously, our envelope is much bigger than our card is. So how on earth are we going to size this and make sure it fits? First things first, we need to change these basic cut lines into score lines. If we send this to our Cricut machine right now, it's going to chop this into 5 different pieces. That's not what we want. So we change basic cut into score. And then click on the entire group, and we're going to attach these things together. That means the Cricut machine is going to do both the scoring and then the cutting on this one layer. Now, to ensure that our card is going to fit, I'm going to hover over the card and then send the envelope to the back and then manually resize it so that this 2026 fits. Remember, the 2026 is what our card is, right? So we're going to need to adjust the spacing based on that white layer, half of the white layer, because remember, this is going to fold. So I pull this behind, line it up, and manually size it out with my mouse. Whatever works best. The goal here is to get the entire number 2026, the entire, and the white layer, because remember we did an offset, so we need to account for that. The goal is to get this entire thing into the envelope without squeezing it too tight, but also making sure it fits pretty snug. Like obviously this is a little too snug, so maybe right here is good. So you can see that I have a little space between the half of the card and the edges, top of the card and the edges. And then when I move it to the center, it doesn't look like I have enough space over here, so we get a little bit wider. And I think that's good right there. Maybe a little bit bigger. I have an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, so I think the biggest I can go actually is 8.25. There we go. And then obviously that is going to fit, so I think we're all good here. Yeah, nothing wrong with a little extra space. There we go. All right, so then I can choose the same text again, text button, but this time I want the name on top of my envelope. And the name I'm going to use this time is, let's go with Briley. Okay. I want this to be a little bit thicker, so I changed my font back to BFC Night Kiss and size this out. Again, I'm using my guidelines to help me figure out where the middle is. Because the 2026 is going to be purple and glittery, I want the name to be purple and glittery. And then the envelope itself is going to be black. I just think black envelopes are so luxe and they just stick out against everything else. And they look really, like that purple just pops. I think it's going to be really nice. So now we're going to group these together so they stay together. And then you can rename it by double clicking and typing envelope. I'll call it purple envelope. And then this is our 2026 card. So I'm going to pull this all together, group it, and call it purple card. And now we've got 2 envelopes, 2 cards, 2 custom gifts, 2 different names. You can add the top on the top. It's just enough space to add a gift card if you'd like. Just use some double-sided tape and put it on there. And again, if you found this video helpful, or if you have any feedback or comments for me, please leave them in the description box below. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for being here. Bye.